And we're following a change to how the U.S. handles military draft registration. A new measure would automatically sign up young men at 18 years old instead of requiring them to register themselves. So what does this really mean, and should families here in San Diego be concerned? Joining us now to break all of this down is the founder of the San Diego chapter of the Truman National Security Project, Sean Van Diver. Thank you, Sean, for coming in this afternoon. A lot to unpack. But first, let's just talk timing. Is there any meaning to the timing of doing this now?
No, look, what happened is they passed a law back in December, the National Defense Authorization Act, which sort of authorizes all the things that the military does. They authorize all the spending for the next 12 months, and this was part of that. And it happened because the selective service system went to Congress and went to the Pentagon and said, hey, we need to spend less time trying to enforce this rule and more time focused on administering the selective service system. So there's no significance to the timing. It has nothing to do with the Iran war, although people are understandably scared about that.
Yeah. What about the significance automatic registration versus what 18-year-olds have been doing up to this point?
Sure. Well, look, I joined the military at 17, and I didn't even know how I would have to do that, right? There wasn't a lot of clear instructions on that. So sometimes high schools will help you fill out paperwork. Sometimes it happens automatically through a DMV, but now they're just going to make it seamless, right? And the selective service system was spending a lot of time trying to enforce and implement penalties on people who didn't register, because every adult male in the United States is required to register from the ages of 18 to 25.
And also explain that there would be a lot of moves. It takes Congress to actually then enact a draft. So this isn't anywhere close to that at this point.
No. It's not like, look, people are understandably scared because the president is in fact a lunatic. So they're worried that he might just start the draft, but that is not how it works. It would take Congress passing a law. Congress is not going to do that. There are so many steps that would have to happen before a draft would start. So look, it's understandably scary, and there's a lot of people out there in the Twitter sphere and all over the internet, screeching about how scary this is, but it's not. This is totally normal. And look, I am no fan of the president's. I'm not carrying a flag for him. If there was something to be worried about, I would tell you that there was something to be worried about. This is just normal course of business, and it's actually good government. The government just doing something automatically like it should be done without creating a paperwork headache or a chance for human intervention or a chance for human error in the process.
People thinking back to 73, Vietnam, now with Iran and tensions around the globe. Also, just to explain for anyone in that age group of 18 to 25, you can be registered, you could have a draft, but that still doesn't mean you can't object.
That's exactly right. There's a lot of reasons why people wouldn't be able to enlist in the military. One, there's a lot of medical reasons. Number two, there's religious reasons. Number three, there's conscientious objector status. There's a bunch of different reasons. But look, the truth is that an all-volunteer military is a better way to run a military. It's why our military is the most professional in the world and the most successful in the world. And look, we are so far away from the idea that we're going to have a draft. You would hear a lot more news about it, but what happened is sort of this got put into the Federal Register and people were watching it and they thought, oh my goodness, is this about to happen? And it's just not. There's nothing to be worried about other than lauding government for this good service. And what would be great is if this same sort of automated system could work for things like voter registration, like it does here in California, or for things like automatic citizenship for people who join the military with that promise, but then don't get the paperwork right. There's somebody at their command who doesn't get the paperwork right. They get out of the military, they find themselves deported under this president because they didn't get dot the right T or cross the right I. There's a lot of different systems that could be automated like this, and we should be hoping for more of that in the future.
And so you've made it very clear. The government said at the very beginning, we're streamlining. It's a streamlining process and ends up being cheaper in the end. Sean Van Diver, we appreciate you coming in, giving your expertise on this.
Thank you so much. I'll come back anytime.
You got it. And we have nothing to worry about.
That's
so
right. Don't worry.
Thank you.